What
news
have we
on the
got?
entertainment as well.
What have we got?
The Eurovision.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh shit, I
Vanessa
better
wants to
tell
talk about the
fucking.
No,
No, no, no, no, no,
language.
no, 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 no.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Broadsheet on the Telly. My name is John Preposterous Ryan. Welcome to our 49th episode. Hello to Broadsheet readers, commenters, and even the trolls. I'd like to say hello to Neil Curran and Vanessa Foran. Lucky Kumbula is going to join us, and if he's watching now, I've sent you the link, Lucky. So just click on the link, and he's going to tell us about some recent developments in the direct provision scheme. They've opened up formal complaints for the ombudsman. The ombudsman has received formal complaints, and anyway, he did a commentary on Friday. So we're going to go over that. And Olga Cronin is in town. She was lucky enough to get a shift tonight, and but she'll be discussing the disclosures tribunal.
She gets all the luck.
Well, all
the luck. She gets all the fun.
We're exhausted at the sheet because.
Beg your pardon, please, John.
No, because no, on the sheet, but at Broadsheet because Olga, while simultaneously shifting, is also.
Oh Jesus, John! It's just
Dublin Castle covering the disclosures tribunal, and a big day today in the tribunal. So we'll talk to Olga about that. Aaron McAlorum, our sports editor, is going to join us, but he's looking after his baby Thaig, a new baby Thaig. Neil has made a sturdier stuff because he's got a newborn, but he's still on. The show must go on for Neil. And Vanessa, I just want to go straight to you because I will soon probably be replaced by a woman on the show if trends are anything to go by.
Or you'll be taking a pay cut anyway, John. So
well. There's parity of esteem. That's all we've got here. But Joanne Cantwell is the new face of GA, or the Sunday Game.
The Sunday Game, yeah, it's great news. And actually, thank you for the thread today. It just said dub rather than focus on the gender. So
she played for the Dubs, didn't she? Cantwell?
Oh, she did, yeah. But what I would say about Joanne Cantwell is.
The late 70s side, wasn't it? Keaveney's. I don't know. Go on with this.
No, what I would say about Joanne Cantwell being a very popular choice is she does sport overall very well. She's rugby, she's tennis. She's able to discuss sport interestingly and competently and enjoy each sport. It comes across that she enjoys sport so much and really follows it, not just picks up the results and writes a report. And so I wish her the best. I'm really looking forward to not next summer, and her dealing with Pat Spillane and Smig and the boys and
Joe Brawley.
Raleigh, yeah.
Will you miss Michael Lister?
I suppose you'd miss his voice, more so because he's been the voice of Sundays for over 30 years. One thing I would say, and of course I wish Michael Lister, I don't think we've seen the last one, but I don't think Joanne would stay in the job as long as Michael Lister.
But Michael Lister is an institute. I mean, I'm way younger than you old fogies, but for as long as I remember.
Do you know what we did, John? Why don't we change the show to Going Strong?
I remember Michael Lister did the Los Angeles Olympics. It was the first time that RTÉ had done early morning TV. It was like breakfast TV.
So that was 84.
That was 84. That's the first time I remember him. But you probably had GA memories prior to that. But
we had a great year in 84, so of course I remember it.
So in terms of the makeup of the Sunday Game, is like match is the big is where everybody goes on a Sunday night, is it? GA wise.
Well, it's a much bigger show now than it was when it started out. And of course, there would have been GA coverage in what was then known as Saturday Stadium, I think it was,
Yeah.
at the time. And the wireless was a huge provider of action.
Yeah, I know, no. I know that now. You know,
It still is. And I still see people at matches now listening to the wireless
right.
and watching the match. And I have to admit it, I've done it myself a few times. And then I've very often, too often in this house anyway, I've turned down the television, watched the TV and listened to the wireless.
Right. So you don't.
When you say wireless, do you mean broadband?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the radio. Oh, sorry.
But Vanessa, is the commentary better on the radio?
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the radio commentator do it on the telly then?
Well, imagine there are probably, demarcation rules and union rules between, Radio 1 and
Yeah.
You don't get bus drivers driving the Lewis, John.
But who does the commentary then on the radio? Who that you like?
I think Brian Carty's my favourite.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose he's coming up next for retirement.
And is Marty does the telly then does he?
Yeah, Marty. But he does wireless as well. But
Okay.
he's done Country File on Saturday mornings.
But in terms of GAA, does Marty actually commentate on the matches, or does he just sort of?
No, it's pretty much but the ditch stuff that I might do myself if I was asked.
So would Marty have wanted that gig, the Sunday gig?
Oh God, who wouldn't want that job? I'd have loved that job.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and I don't think myself and Pat Spillane and Colin O'Rourke will get on at all. Kerry, a Cork woman in between a Kerry fella and a Meath fella from the 80s. Brawley would have got away with it because he's a 90s man. But so Cork, Kerry and Meath in the 80s were bad news.
So Marty's role then in GAA it's like Jimmy Hills was in football. Like, is he doesn't commentate on the games, and is he a good expert at GAA? I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't call him an expert.
Okay.
As in, he'd know the best off left hand, puck at the ball and all this. Like he wouldn't be the anorak type. But in terms of selling the atmosphere, selling the action, giving the taste of the game, knowing the players, knowing their personalities, and most particularly knowing where they're from and their club, which is very important in the GA. That's where Marty shines. Also, Marty does other sports, and he does the Olympics as well. Oh, he does the Olympics. Do you not remember when he was doing the ladies' beach volleyball?
No.
I love drooling. He didn't know where to put his eyes. Like he was. I don't. Marty's an institution, and everyone loves Marty. I don't know anyone. I've never heard a bad word said about Marty. Whereas if you were to line all the other lads up from Brawley down this, you could build a bridge on people cribbing about them.
Yeah, he's an institution, but in terms of sort of somebody like Michal Mrhirtic, who would be his successor? Is that Joanne Cantwell? I mean,
no. Well, Michal Mrhirtic it was the commentator on the live action.
Right.
Joanne is going to be in studio with the lads. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Which is her area because that's where she is in studio, and she has panelists in and players and. Something interesting, if there's another sporting event on while a game is on, she could deliver the results and the updates far more competently. Does anyone ever listen to Saturday Sports on Radio 1? It's like it's worth your license alone, and they're feeding in from all over the world, different sports, different action. And you get the taste, you get the speed, you get the action, and it's a great show, and I can tell you in the summer it can go from 10 in the morning to 7 at night on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think Joanne will do that very well. And I think if you look in RT last year and the year before, they started introducing particularly hurlers younger hurlers, Jackie Tyrrell and Henry Shefflin in. So, and she would have grown up with those hurlers. Whereas if she's in the football now, she's having to deal with Brawley, O'Rourke and Spillane, who, let's be honest, they're around longer than I am. Well, maybe not Brawley, but...
Yeah. Spillane, definitely. Like, he was around in Superstars, in the late 70s.
Oh, God.
Neil, have you any thoughts on this, or are you excited by the Sunday games, new host?
I couldn't even tell you what day of the week the Sunday game is on. But I do have a question for you guys, because it's kind of relevant for, as we see, a change to that lineup. It was announced as well this week that the Formula One girls, which I didn't know was still a thing, but
the great girls.
That industry's been shut down. That's people out of a job. I'm wondering how you guys feel about that. I didn't know that was still a thing, but seemingly it is. But that's a whole profession now. There's people probably dying to study it in college that are just wasted their
former job. I was one myself.
Have they banned the darts girl? The darts girls are the
darts girls are gone, and I think the ring girls are gone. In one of the associations, the boxing, and that there's a half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
I think the girls are gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why people were so offended by it all. It's all part of the show. I mean, if you're going to Formula One, you're going to the big game. You're not going to a Junior B game down in North Tip or something like that.
The boxing always felt a little... there was an uncomfortable feeling around the boxing one, because just seeing two guys pummel each other, and then this, woman comes on and...
Well, I suppose maybe historically, John, it might have looked a bit uncomfortable, but boxing has become more and more of an extravaganza event. It's like
still
the Vegas
still
show.
fairly brutal though.
Yeah,
the Vegas scene, and the rock stars walking in and taking their seats, and the...
Can I move on just a little bit? And it's sports.
Please.
It's not really sports at all, but well, it is in fact. I mean, the story, the Ulster rugby rape trial is ongoing, so we must be very careful about that. But the story today is concerns the Irish captain Rory Best went to the court yesterday to show support to the accused. But
is that yesterday?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Is that their uniform?
Well, and this was it. I think so. I think it's the Ulster.
That's their team uniform.
Yeah, they
went into court in their team uniform.
It's up on the screen there.
Yeah. Can everybody see that? Can you see that?
I can see it, but what I'm asking is that the Irish team's uniform?
No,
their travelling squad.
No, I think the Ulster travelling. Ulster's travelling.
Okay, and I don't want to discuss the case until there's a verdict myself. So if I'm going to be a bit blunt on that, that's fair enough, and I apologise. But Rory Best is the captain of the Ireland team. Yeah? Right. Yeah, and are they not playing? Are they not opening the Six Nations at the weekend in France?
Well,
why isn't he keeping his eye on that ball instead of going up there to court?
Well, I think
his manager might want to have a word with him. I mean, if I was a rugby supporter and my captain was off doing that and being featured in the newspaper and featuring in a news item for something that is going to be, regardless of the verdict, is still a very unsavoury story. And something that all sides don't want to prolong.
Yeah, sure. Some of the details are out there, and it's difficult to sort of the WhatsApp stuff is a bit disturbing. But as you say, that Rory Best is presumably friends of these guys and is showing.
That's fair enough, John. And they're friends, and that's their business. But Rory Best is engaged as the Ireland rugby captain. This is a professional sport now, and they're opening their Six Nations this weekend in an away game against France. I mean, the Ireland results haven't been great. You think he'd be focusing on that?
Well, Vanessa,
I'm surprised they're not taking a more business-like approach to this.
Well, Vanessa, I think it's nothing to do with his performance on Saturday. It's actually to do with him turning up on the day that the alleged victim was giving testimony.
No, I accept that, and I know that's what the news angle is, and I know that's what is featuring in the Times there, and I know that's why you brought it was on Broadsheet today.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if I was a rugby supporter, I wouldn't be giving that any of the attention, that focus. I would be asking the question, why is the Ireland captain diverting his attention to this case? This isn't a speeding fine or a chancery case.
Who cares how they perform Saturday, really? I mean, ultimately, when you're looking at
rugby supporters do, and the IRFU do, and their sponsors do.
But I think
I don't care. I don't care what they do at all. No, actually, I can't really say that now. I've accepted a ticket. I've accepted a league to a rugby event in a couple of weeks, so I better be careful in case some people start saying, "Oh, she took the soup all right."
Well, yeah, I think Neil, come in here and help.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I know less about rugby than the average person. Well, I know nothing about rugby. One of the things I was thinking about this week in relation to this trial was the reports in the media about the case itself have been very graphic. And quite a number of times I've heard this week, if you've got small children in the room, cover their ears kind of thing. And that's happening on daytime TV. And, one of the thoughts that crossed my mind was, what it must be like for the girl in all of this, that this is being, played out on the media, on the TV, on the radio, and such. In such detail, and really, is it in the public interest for us to know that level of detail? Is that necessarily in the public interest beyond the bare facts of the case? It's just been on my mind a bit this week about how it's being covered, and is that necessary? I don't know. I mean,
you would never get the level of detail.
I'm just wondering, is it appropriate for radio or TV at like 9, 10, 11, 12 lunchtime? I mean, on News Talk, the presenter today said, I realize it's the school run now and you're probably picking up kids from school, but we are going to be talking, so this has been happening a lot this week. I'm just wondering, is it so much in the public interest during daytime TV to go into such a level of detail as, I don't know. I'd never really noticed that in coverage of stories in the media before. I'm just wondering, is it just coincidental, or is there, do we hear that level of detail in these cases?
No, it's because there is high profile sports people involved, and it could be any sport.
Of course. But I think Neil's point Vanessa, is an interesting one, because there's a huge amount of interest in the case, and because the case is reported, and because the kind of most salacious stuff gets to the top of this, I feel, is any of it in the public interest? I mean, in terms of the extraneous detail, the WhatsApp stuff, all that. I mean,
well, I imagine the story. Sorry, Vanessa, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go on. You're the producer. You outranked me.
That's sexist. No, I was only going to say, the story is because it's related to the accused are high profile in the sports world. I wouldn't know them if I passed them on the street. But again, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is, do we need to hear such an intimate level of detail on daytime TV and radio? It's not a prudish thing. It's just,
Neil, can I ask you if
Careful now, John.
You're in Rory Best's position. Would you have gone along to the case, to the trial?
I can't answer that but I can't step into his shoes because I don't know their relationship. I genuinely don't know what their relationship is like. I mean, the flip side of it is,
Imagine there's no relationship, just that they're friends and that he's his captain. Or not friends, rather, but just that he's this captain.
I mean, I don't know. It's a very hard scenario to kind of put yourself in. I mean, there is the innocent till proven guilty. That's how the eyes of the law work, and that's something that we do have to respect. And it often gets lost in cases like this when it's the way, things can get reported. That there is that aspect to it. On one hand, it could be a friend showing support for another friend. But I couldn't possibly answer.
Some suggest that it was quite intimidating seeing those guys come in for the alleged victim.
Well, I suppose I can't speak for the victim, and I'm advised she was screened off, so she doesn't know who was there. But that behaviour is exactly what they did in Listowel, queuing up in front of the victim, parading across the victim. Now, I know that was post-verdict, and he was waiting to be sentenced. But the psyche and the motivation behind that behaviour is identical. They weren't there to support their friend. They would have sent their friend messages and support and up on Facebook. To go there in person when he's better things to be doing. It's not like he's nothing on this week.
I don't want to label.
He actually went out of his way to do this.
Vanessa, I don't want to labor the point, but doesn't that seem very completely trivial when you say it, like as compared to what the central issue is here? I mean, it's irrelevant, I think, frankly, who he's playing tomorrow, whatever. The point is that he's there in the club colours, supporting or showing solidarity in an extremely, extremely sensitive case. My God, you couldn't get more sensitive case. And I mean, what does it say? What does it say about modern professional sport, frankly?
Well, I suppose the man to ask that is Mr. Hook. Now that he's back on the air, he had plenty to say about team sports and how they treat women, and in those situations. And the one that got him into trouble sounds quite similar. Granted, it was a different discipline and a different city. I don't want to talk about the case at all, Jan. I think we should wait until it's a 5-week case. This is going to keep going on, and
but as you
wait
say,
until,
as you say, the case is not a speeding. It's not a driving incident or anything like that. It's a serious case. I mean, if these guys were up for tax evasion or something like that, or a victimless crime as such, but.
Tax is
look,
not a victim.
I understand. I know what you're trying to get out of me, John, right? And I'm telling you.
Vanessa, please, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth at all. No,
you're waiting for an outburst now from a GA person.
No, not at all. No, and in fact, in previous episodes, you've discussed the sports arena being a place where
Yeah, but this is where leadership and general decency. These guys aren't schoolboys. These are professional athletes. You'd think even that their sponsors would coach them on what is acceptable behaviour. I think Rory Best I think the news as well, featuring on it, going up there. The story is, why the hell isn't he preparing himself and his team for their biggest tournament this year? And if I was his boss, and if I was paying his wages, and I was the one paying him to have a sticker across his arse or something, I would have serious questions. If I was if I was investing in him, either as a player or as a company looking for his endorsement, I would take serious issue with that. With regard to the rights and wrongs of turning up, I think it was tasteless. I think it was typical of this country. And I've said it here, lads,
Okay.
Things have changed, and you need to get your houses in order. And here you go. This is it happening today. You know.
Okay.
That's you're waiting for an outburst now. You always got it.
Well, it just seemed odd that you were like concerned about Parc de France, and I thought,
I don't care. Listen, they could be my back garden at the weekend.
I know.
I'd make them. I wouldn't even pick up the dog mess. That's.
Yeah, I have to say that God, rugby has, like, obviously it's completely changed, but when I played it in CBC Monkstown, we were like terrible. Obviously,
You were a yuppie then.
A what?
You were a yuppie.
A yuppie?
John, is there any photographs? Is there any photographs of when you were a rugby player?
No, but there was a couple of things, and it's only in retrospect that I look back and I think of that were, that time. We were, as I say, mediocre, very small school as well. So, but at under 9, under 10, under 11, we would hammer Black Rock and things like that, like Terranir and stuff like that. And then within a year, these guys, we were facing guys with beards, and they were like, they seemed to have grown about 5 years. I'm wondering, in retrospect, when I look back, were they then using supplements then?
Well, the question is, were you using supplements, John?
No, we were undernourished. We were malnourished.
I tell you, a supplement in our day was a third Weetabix. That was it.
Well,
and a bottle of
or a
lubricant.
third shredded wheat.
No, I think there must have been something more potent on the market, because I don't know what happens to those serious rugby schools, because within 12 months they become these rugby people, rather than, like, as I say, we would beat them under 10, under 11, under 12, and then suddenly
what an achievement.
Hormones.
You were under 18 at the time, they were under 11, you finally beat them. But John, do you accept that you were playing in the day a yuppies game? When I was in school, we didn't have rugby. Wasn't in my primary school and secondary school in Ireland, in Dublin. Rugby wasn't an option.
Yeah,
and it was viewed as a yuppies game, and I'm using the politically correct term to describe what we really refer to it as. And it's had this explosion in recent years.
Well, ours was quite sad, because we were in a Christian Brothers school, and normally they would do GAA, right? Yeah, but this is their sort of foray. This is their kind of attempt to take on the Rocks and the Terranura. So they adopted rugby at the school, and we in fact won the senior cup in '76. But were
you at the team, John?
No, I was not.
I did not exist back in '76.
I did. I was actually not at the match, but I wasn't playing. But the point was that that culture is they become. I mean, they physically look like men by the age of sort of 14, 15, and they're kind of.
Are you saying they were tugging out overage minors?
Well, no, it looked like that. But what I'm thinking was,
we just out in the GA. There's murder.
No, looking back, I'm just thinking, were they on supplements then? Where they were like, probably just.
There was no supplements then. No.
No, but
you just, John.
Maybe.
What's the real issue here, John? Is there? Have you got this unresolved issue from school that you feel resentment towards the better teams, better players? Is that?
No,
maybe...
but I think I was there like when we were the last of the. If you join. I knew a guy who played for Leinster, for instance. Nobody knew him, and because nobody went to the games. And do you understand? I mean, very few people went. Like if you looked through the program of an Ireland rugby game in the '70s, there was, WG, say Murphy, solicitor, and chartered accountant, and they really would. I mean, it was only up to, I suppose, whatever, the late 80s, 90s, the professional thing. What point am I getting? Yeah, so it was a class. It was a class thing.
Well, it was because the rugby was in the fee-paying schools, John. So, like Christians and Cork, Christian like, okay, obviously the Christian Brothers have a load of schools, but what's known as Christians in Cork is a feeping school, and that is a rugby school. And Press, they are the rugby schools, and they're in the city. And then you have the Dublin scene. I mean, the Dublin scene is, for anyone moving up to Dublin or coming from outside Dublin, the school scene for girls and boys is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a nut job.
Yeah. It's
And
a bit
admittedly, as the parent of a girl, I didn't take it seriously at all. And suddenly realised, Jesus, I've no fit in school. I just thought I'd go down and put her name down. And then I realised there was a whole scene. There was a whole strategy about it. I should have developed a plan from when I was pregnant. And
yeah. Well, yeah, and there's it's a bit like Friday Night Lights, you know, that American, it's got an American flavor to it as well. So, you know, it's sort of there's Lucky. Hello, Lucky.
Hey.
Hey, Lucky. Do you support the rugby? Lucky, do you watch rugby?
Well, no, not really.
Hey, Lucky.
How are you?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right, thanks, John. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Are you in Arklow?
I'm in Arklow, yes.
Is that the new pad?
Yes, it is.
It's very nice. Looks very nice.
Oh, yeah. That's great, Lucky.
Yes.
I have a place quite near Arklow in British Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll be having a visitor over the summer.
Oh yeah.
Have you visited the Broken Pottery at the? Do you remember we suggested you go to that the only thing in Arklow to see was the pottery, but somebody said it had closed.
No. I haven't done much. I just moved here over a month ago. Yeah, I'm still up and down, you know.
Really?
I'm not set. Yeah, well, that's where I am. That's my place, but I still frequent Dublin, you know.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a hike, isn't it, up there to get from Arklow?
It's about an hour, is it?
It's about an hour. Yeah, it's about an hour.
The motorway now is on the way down to Arklow, John.
Yeah, it's made it easy, and the buses are hourly.
It's probably the weather as well, Lucky, because it is on the coast, and then there's the river, the bridge, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of probably a bit miserable at the moment, and the part of the town is all boarded up, so it can be quite disappointing as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically a disappointing pretty place. If there's anybody
when the summer comes, it's a lovely town. You should join the European Golf Club.
Which one?
The European. I think it's the most expensive golf club in the country. It's just up there. You know, if you go the coast road.
Yeah.
It's up there. You take a hike up there.
No, summertime I'll be able to see those places because at this moment the weather is crazy.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
To even go anyway, gosh.
Yeah, dreadful. And do you Lucky? Have you got transport? Have you got a car and stuff? Or are you on train? Or?
No, I use bus.
Use the bus. Jesus.
Yeah.
So, God. So you've got to leave Dublin early then to get home.
Oh yeah. Well, no, there's the buses run till late. You know, yeah. I don't have to, if I have to have a late meeting or whatever. So, yeah, I can take the 9:30 bus from Dublin. It takes me by 11, I'm here. So, yeah, it's okay.
Lucky, this is your first permanent home in how long?
Oh, it's the first, not in 5 years. I'm 5 years now full in Ireland. On my 5th year, that's when I got my first house.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Feels good. It feels good.
And do you know what else, Lucky? Right?
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi is way better in Arklow.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can see you perfectly now and hear you perfectly.
Yeah, you
Oh yeah. That's a good thing. There's less traffic, you know.
That's true. And will you be sporting Wicklow in the championship?
Oh yes, I will definitely.
They need all the supporters they can get. And you know, one of the most notorious events in Irish sporting history happened in Wicklow.
It happens in Wicklow.
It happened in Wicklow, yeah. The battle.
Oh,
Battle of Rathrum, yeah.
I will get to know about that as I settle fully.
Oh yeah,
and,
you will.
And give my support to the lads this side.
Wicklow GAA is a saga on its own.
Who's your local TD there, Lucky? Who's your local TD?
No,
No, Lucky. I said,
no.
Who's your local TD, Member of Parliament?
No, I haven't searched for him yet. I'll get to know him very, very soon.
So Lucky, last week the Ombudsman released what he called a commentary on the 97 formal complaints that he'd received from residents in direct provision.
Right.
I read it and I was very impressed. I mean, it seems that the one thing that we were talking about, like the visits, were so important that as soon as people go down, then the attitudes change and the food gets better and stuff like that. And the more visits, the better. And it seemed that a lot of the complaints were solved on the spot. And now you might dispute that, but am I getting a rosier view than?
Well, I have my feelings about that report.
Okay.
Firstly, well, it's good because it's something that was never there before. That's the positive about it. It's a start, but there was one comment also that was made there, which was a concern to me and the others, and it should be a concern as well to the Ombudsman, when they mentioned that one of the things that they found in visiting the centers was the fact that the many residents could not place their complaints or lodge their complaints because of fear of kind of victimization, and that should be a concern, because we would want everyone that has got any issue that has not been resolved.
He mentioned that though, didn't he? There was a section on that.
Yes, there was. Yeah, there was. Because 97, well, it's a good start, but it's not enough. When you're on the ground, you hear the people. When you hear people, grumbling about this and that and that. There's a lot that's happening in the center. That's than what's showing in the report.
And is it because the complaints can't be anonymous, or
they can be, but it's very difficult for them to make sure that it remains like that, anonymous, because of the process and the procedure that has been put in place. That firstly, you have to exhaust your local with your local management, with RIA, before it goes to them. And when they do the investigation about that case, obviously they will know who the person would have referred that case anyway.
And have you examples of retribution carried out on residents?
No.
But it's the fear. You're saying that the fear is enough for them to avoid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most people have that fear of being victimized.
Mr. Tyndall said that the Ombudsman said the number one complaint obviously was the food, the quality, the attitude of the staff, and the fact that you can't make, and the fact that you still can't make your own food. And the second thing I thought most important thing was childcare. That there's no contract for these deep residential centres to have any childcare facilities. I didn't realise that. And that volunteers from towns were coming in and providing that childcare.
Well, that will differ from one centre to another.
Yeah, he was saying that there was some volunteer, but don't you have a constitutional right for the children to be given some form of childcare during the day?
It should actually. It should. It's supposed to be there because it's a simple thing to do.
Lucky, we've lost you in the light.
Neil might know more about that on the childcare thing. Is it the preschool is the statutory one that for a year, Neil, on the childcare?
I'm not sure. I should know, but I'm not sure.
But the centres, it's not within their contract to provide childcare. I don't know why that is the case, Lucky. But now, if you have a child,
I don't know. It could be. I don't know why is it not there. I don't want to say it could be an oversight, but because it doesn't happen in. I mean, all the centers don't. Most of the centers that I know don't have that.
And even sort of play centers, some of them don't have.
Well, the one thing that centers do organize with the residents will be the kind of homework club for the kids.
Yeah.
Which happens in some of the centers through the residents themselves getting involved.
Lucky, I can barely see you. Could you? I can't see your face.
Can you see me now? It's better.
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Or do I have to? Let me switch on this light.
Yeah, perfect.
Maybe this light here.
Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah.
My God, you're even more handsome, Lucky.
And there's only one man she's ever said that to, and that's Dwayne Johnson. So you're in an exclusive category there.
Am I going to be allowed to talk about the Baywatch movie?
We'd have to dedicate a whole episode to that.
I think so. Thanks. I'll expect you all to have watched it before we do it.
Yeah.
That includes you, Lucky. Now that you have your own home, you've no excuse not to catch up now with Baywatch.
Correct.
Well, Lucky, the report then highlighted the things that you've been saying for years.
Yeah.
But you feel that it's a drop in the ocean because of the fear of retribution. People are only 97 formal complaints.
Yes, remember that there are about 5,000 international applicants in the whole country, and there are about 33 centers, right? And I know they started their work roundabout because it started in April. Then they should have started their work maybe say about June, and they were busy with the going around. The ombudsman has been going around introducing themselves to the residents, so it might have come late to other centers. So those are the other factors as well. But hopefully this year there will be a better. The numbers. Ideally they would want to see less numbers, but it's important that the numbers do grow so that people can, air their views.
And obviously get the resolution that they need.
Yes, important. Yes.
I think the ombudsman thing is a step in the right direction, but a step backwards was you're given the right to work, but now if you're under appeal, you can't work. If you've appealed your decision.
Yeah. The right to work is a very complicated subject, even for the department itself, because it's a new thing for them. We had an information session yesterday with the Justice Department and the other departments like the social welfare, and you can see that yes, from the announcements that we had a few weeks ago, there were a lot of restrictions, which the things that made people really to be worried about are the fact that there were 60 categories whereby asylum seekers would be not allowed to find employment, and also the fee that was announced as well, that people must pay 500 to 1,000 to get a work permit. Okay, and those are the things that we asked questions yesterday with regard to clarity on that. And they mentioned that even, I mean, though it was not mentioned in the media statements that came out, that 500 or 500 to 1,000 it does not have to be paid by the applicant himself or herself. So the employer is the one that must pay for that amount. That was cleared in that way.
Okay.
And with regard to jobs.
So, sorry, the employer pays now this permit, the amount for the permit, is that? That's
right.
Okay.
That's what they said. That amount is payable by the employer.
Okay, but isn't that a deterrent for the employer to take you on or take somebody?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You know. Yeah. So it's very, very tricky. There was also, on the question of jobs, for instance, there was a parliamentary question that was asked by Catherine
Murphy. Catherine Murphy?
No. Catherine Connolly, TD, the TD.
Oh yes, Catherine Connolly.
Catherine Connolly, yeah.
Galway.
In Galway, yeah. She asked that question of the jobs, the category of. She asked for the minister to elaborate on that.
The 60 categories.
Yes. Yeah, the question actually was the preferably introduced to ensure asylum seekers are protected from exploitation, incorrect category, self-employment. Okay, the response was that there is the implementation group chaired by the department and with representatives from all relevant departments and agencies is currently working through the details, which will include less restrictive access to different categories of work than the employment permit regime, which will apply in the interim period. Widening, he goes on and says, widening the access to labor market is a complex issue needing to take into account a range of factors such as maintaining the integrity of the common travel area, potential impact of Brexit, and any impact on the existing employment permit regime for the non-EEA nationals. These considerations will be balanced with meeting the directive's requirements of granting effective access to labor market, being cognizant of current labor market shortages.
Okay.
Yeah. So there will always be changes or what as they implement this from the 9th of Feb. But in reality, they might say what they say, but when it comes to the practical application of this, we will see less people getting access to employment.
Right.
Very, very, very low.
And just when the job market is
Crying.
Crying for workers.
Yeah. Yes. We would have loved to have a situation whereby people, let it be easy for people to access jobs, or to look for employment.
Yeah.
Because at the moment they would put there's so many restrictions that people must adhere to, in order for them to have that access,
Yeah. God, well, it's a pretty good start to the year for you in terms of the House and maybe the ombudsman, some of the ombudsman's report. But it's a long way to go now, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot.
It's a long way to go. It's a need for the campaign to carry on as well, for us to occupy their thinking and their decision making, taking into account what we say as well. We have, for instance, on the 8th, that is the eve of this date, which is the 9th, we have called for for a demo outside the Leinster House on the right to work, calling for less restrictions on this right to work.
When is that? Did you say?
It's the 8th. It's on a Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Okay, next Thursday.
8th of February.
Yes, 8th of February, Thursday, 1 o'clock at outside the door.
Well, Lucky, will you maybe come on next week and tell us how?
The evening of that. Yes. I will.
Okay.
I will.
I was thinking, Vanessa and Neil, we've been discussing. Oh, very good.
So when you see this poster, that's us for the right to work.
That's a great poster, beautifully designed.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Lucky? I'm surprised John didn't make you put sellotape or gaffer tape across your T-shirt, because we're not allowed to have logos on.
The share price in a certain recruiting agency has gone through the roof over the past 20 minutes.
Did you? Yeah. So you'll join us next week, Lucky.
Yes, I will.
And maybe we'll get your computer onto a higher level so we can sort of see you like eye to eye.
Yeah.
We'll sort it out. But it's great to see you, Lucky. Oh, that's it. Perfect. You see,
like that.
Just when it's over. That would have been my deal now.
Yeah, I will sort it. I will be in Dublin. I will be. Will I be in? Yeah, I'm sure I will be in Dublin that time.
Lucky, before you go, is your home comfortable?
Yes.
And will you settle in?
It is very, very comfortable.
Excellent.
Yeah, like, to be fair, there is some lovely walks, and it's a lovely location in Arklow. You're just there at the wrong time of year to make.
Yes.
To start growing into it.
Are you familiar with the song "February in Arklow"? No.
Sing it there, John.
No, neither am I. No. Lucky, thank you so much. See you next week.
All right then. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, Lucky.
Thank you. Bye.
That's fantastic. Okay, Lucky.
Right.
Actually, Lucky always sort of hangs on for a while. Thanks, Lucky. Thank you. Neil.
Who's there now?
Neil.
It was nice to have some good news after all we talked about today.
Yeah, it's
He would put you in good humor, wouldn't he?
yeah, look, he's fantastic. I mean, 5 years. He only got Irish residency last year, so it's been a hell of a time from. And now he's in Arklow. He's probably.
I had to look there. I was right. Stephen Donnelly is a Wicklow TD, but who else is a Wicklow constituency? Is Simon Harris. So at least he has a minister in his constituency.
Yeah.
5-seater. So there might be a lot of the Greystone, South Dublin. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's a big constituency.
And Shane Ross? No.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Neil, your entertainment slot.
Very big week in the entertainment world. We'll get some movies out of the way because it's that time of year.
Neil, can you tell me just about the entertainment slot? Is it movies or movies on Netflix, on TV?
It's movies, TV, Netflix. If it entertains you, we'll talk about it.
But you don't include TV shows and stuff.
John, anything that you get to sit down and watch, whether it's in a theatre or on the telly or on your iPad, is entertainment.
and Vanessa includes porn in that category as long as there's artistic merit to it.
Oh God.
So, movies-wise, this week we have the big Paul Thomas Anderson flick, The Phantom Thread, with his on-screen lover, his favorite actor, Daniel and Paul Thomas Anderson are a lovely couple of artistic joy on screen. So this is the film it's where Daniel Day-Lewis is the dressmaker and he has a love affair with one of his dress-wearing ladies. But this is the film that's believed to be Daniel Day-Lewis's final film. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
I think he lives near Lucky. I think he lives around there.
I think he does. Well, he does have an address in Wicklow, doesn't he?
He does. He lives in, near Roundwood.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like. I would have loved to have seen what happened to Daniel Day-Lewis if he ever got the offer of Taken instead of Liam Neeson and took it. Could you imagine, if Daniel Day-Lewis was?
I will find you.
I will find you.
I've a claim to fame. I've met Daniel Day-Lewis.
And how was he compared to The Rock?
Well, John now is going to roll his eyes off here. It was actually in British.
Oh, in Britain. Oh, it was in McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's. Yeah. Did I tell you the story, John?
No, but there's only McDonald's in British, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's closed down now. But I was in there. It was like early summer. It could have been Easter, and there was only myself and baby girl, and then Daniel Day-Lewis arrived in with two friends. And I'm going to come across as a fucking stalker now.
This is very recorded.
But he was ordering. We were just the pub in springtime. It was just toasted sandwiches or whatever, but it was behind the bar, crisps or something. And so anyway, he was there and he was with his friends. I'm not going to say any more now because I'll definitely be called a stalker. So sorry, folks. Sorry, everybody.
Is that the story?
No, there's more to it, but I'm not going to say anything. No. I'll tell you off screen because I don't want to get accused of being a dirty old one. And
God forbid. But was there something like? Did you ask him out? Or?
Stop it, John.
Okay.
Oh God! He leaned over the table, and you know that the way lads wear their knicker elastic up over the top of their pants, and it was right in front of my face. So for a long time, I was telling everyone I saw Daniel Day-Lewis's underwear.
You saw the
could have been. That could have been his method acting, though. You know, he's renowned for his passion for his art. You know. For There Will Be Blood, he drank only milkshakes.
I'm just going to make sure he's age appropriate. I'm going to have a look now because I
was that about 10 years ago? Was it in the early noughties, mid noughties?
No, actually, wait. Let me think. 08, 09. It might have been around 09 or 10.
Yeah, because it was the boot cut. There was a kind of the male, the builder's crack thing.
Stop! Don't say anything now. Let me just make sure he's age appropriate now before I start. Oh, that's all right. That Jesus, thank Christ.
It's So Neil, go on, please.
Sorry. So that's the artistic man. That's what we've done to poor his last film, and we're talking about the man's knickers. Anyway, the reports in the film are very good. That it seems to hold its water. So, that's the big flick of the week. Other films that are out, there's Den of Thieves, which stars Gerard Butler and 50 Cent. Now this is a heist.
Are we at peak Butler now? And the talking inside of his mouth.
Well, Butler's
peak Butler a long time ago, I think.
I think we were. But this one, when you see the lineup and it's a heist film, yeah, you kind of had written it off. But it's getting kind of okay reviews actually, and 50 Cent apparently does a good job in the role that he plays. So yeah, it's kind of getting slightly above average reviews. But okay. I'm not going to go see that. And the other film of the week is Journey's End, which is set during World War I. It stars Paul Bettany, and it's basically about an infantry troop in the trenches. And this one also gets fairly good reviews as well. So I don't know a whole lot about this, but yeah, they're the three films of the week. But there has been some other interesting movie news. Most of us don't care about it, but it's Super Bowl Sunday this weekend.
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. So this caused a bit of a storm online. It hit Broadsheet today as a story, but this caused a storm online because they were talking about a reboot and a remake and these excellent teaser trailers. But it turns out it's just a promo for the Australian tourist board. I mean, the trailer had a couple of Australian well-known celebs in it. But what caught me by surprise was the anger that, the suggestion of rebooting this film received online. I mean, no one seemed to give a shit about Star Wars and all these spin-off movies, but God,
I'd love if they redid it.
Yeah,
I'd love it.
There seemed to be like a lot of support for it.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out the first time, going in the pictures to watch it with friends at home in Cork. This is when you were kids. And I think it could do with a complete new reboot, because it was very... if you look back at it now, the original Crocodile Dundee in its own way was brilliant, and it was all Hogan, but it was very... You could see where he kind of literally patched it together, with a gig from Qantas and another gig from some beer company, and kind of had all these lads in just filling little bits, and he kind of stitched it together. And it's an incredible premise for a movie. So can you imagine all those Australian fellas? Who are the lads who are all the brothers and they all look the same? They all seem to be married to Miley.
Hemsworth,
yeah.
So
yeah, it was a great bit of viral marketing for Australia. But that seems to be a trend now, because what I find interesting about this is a great plug for Australia if that's your thing. And we've done this. Ireland has done this with the Star Wars films. We had that really good ad by the tourist board, kind of highlighting Ireland as if aliens were visiting it. Yeah. And of course, Star Wars and Skellig Michael. But I remember I listened to the radio a little while ago. There was a representative from Antashka on the radio, and was being asked about Skellig Michael, and he seemed quite wound up at the fact that Star Wars had put Skellig Michael on the map, and he was very he had his knickers in a twist about the fact that people were coming to the Skelligs because of Star Wars and not because of the history and the culture, and he was very angry about it. So there you go. So not everyone's happy with that.
So people got to Windmill Lane. What did they get to Windmill Lane?
I think Tunisia have had that problem for a long time, haven't they? Aren't the sets still there?
Yeah, and there's that house where the Amityville Horror was filmed outside of New York, and the owners of the house aren't too impressed with people turning up on the street. There's quite a few examples for movie sets. I was in New York not long after Harold Ramis died, and I was with the Ghostbusters, where he was in Ghostbusters, and the Ghostbusters headquarters was a fire station. I loved that film as a kid. Is a fire station, And it's probably the only tourist attraction in New York. You don't have to pay anything. You jump on the tube and get off this part of town, and there was the fire station, and the ground around the fire station had chalk drawings. People had left gifts and homages to Harold Ramis. Someone had left Twinkies on the ground. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, you'll get the reference. All this stuff. It was kind of surreal. So yeah, I guess this is
he was responsible for a lot of movies, Neil, though, wasn't he? Harold
Ramis. Yeah, he was part of he was an improviser. He was part of that crew back with the Bill Murray and the John Belushi. Chicago. Second City. Yeah, he was one of the original main stage lineup back in the day. He was himself. No, I mean, like most things comes to comedy, there's hit and misses. But Ghostbusters is kind of I don't know if you call it a cult classic. It's not necessarily a cult film, but that was a classic film. And himself and Ivan Reitman were a bit of a team, and Dan Aykroyd. There's a shame about how it ended up for John Belushi, but yeah. So there's that. Another thing, as we mentioned, Super Bowl Sunday, the Han Solo, the Han Solo spin-off. We really don't need it film. It were only a short few months before it's released, and the teaser trailer will be played at Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know where I keep saying that. It'll be played during the Super Bowl this Sunday, so expect 30 seconds of a tease for a trailer.
Okay. This is a standalone movie for Han Solo.
A standalone movie for Han Solo. They put a lot of time into coming up with a name for the film, and they called it Solo in the end. And so this features the exploits of Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. And nobody knows what the film is about. Nobody knows what the film is about, and then Lucasfilm then leaked a little bit of what the film would be about. They gave very vague details, but one of the selling points or the story points was we'll get to find out how Han Solo met Chewbacca, which is something. I'm a big Star Wars fan of the original films, and that's never something I gave a second thought to. I don't really give a shit, but also it's kind of like removes. It's a backstory we don't need, but it also is that thing of, we don't need to know that. We saw what Ridley Scott did with Prometheus, with ruining one of the great mysteries of film was the original Alien film, and that strange creature that had, when they walk into the engineer or the space jockey, as it was christened, with the chest open, and we never knew where it came from, and it wasn't a focal point of the film. It was always a great mystery film, and then he ruined it with Prometheus. And I get a feeling that this is going to happen now with this Han Solo film, that we'll get some ridiculous artificial premise for a big pile of crap. But zillions of people are going to watch this trailer over and over and post reaction videos on YouTube, and
we'll probably have it up on the site.
No doubt. But that's the movies. But there is. Sorry, you were going to say something, John?
Yeah. Are these?
John, how are you getting on with Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, we'll discuss that now in a second, because we've already just talked about Marty, though. Sorry, Neil. The movies that are out now, they're the Oscar ones. I mean, the Phantom Thread. There's a few more Oscar ones next week. Is there coming out? Or?
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's that season, and the Oscar nominations there were released a little while ago. I don't know. I haven't got. Don't know the next schedule for the next couple of weeks. But we have films like The Shape of Water to look forward to, as well, which is the Guillermo del Toro film. So that's coming out soon as well. So, so it's that time of year, and usually this time of year, I always feel that just because a film gets nominated for an Oscar doesn't necessarily make it a classic or a film that's in any way entertaining. It's not always guaranteed, but it's this time of year we sometimes see those sleeper hit films that come out. Yeah, I'm just looking at the list here. Yeah, I mean, Three Billboards definitely that's been nominated in a few categories, and that's well deserved of that. But yeah,
it's only got 3 nominations.
Yeah, well, it's better than 2 nominations. It's got Best Actress.
No, I meant Best Actress, Scriptwriter, and what
was the other one? Supporting actor. Supporting actor.
Okay.
Sorry, go on, Neil. Away from the movies now.
So moving away from the movies, I think Vanessa has something she wants to say she's very excited about.
Really? Well,
We got the Eurovision. Ireland has picked.
Oh, the Eurovision now. I'm waiting for news from the Broadsheet in-house Eurovision expert.
Fluffy biscuits.
Yeah, and as you know, Fluffy has a habit of being a busy man. But I know he's not impressed anyway.
With Rhino Shocknessy's.
No. Now, at the same time, I don't get feedback on who should have done it or what they could have done. But I suppose maybe it's fair to say to wait till I do hear from Mr. Biscuits.
Is it a ballad?
Actually, I don't know. But he didn't take it to the news too well anyway. Well, a couple of nights ago when it kind of wasn't released till yesterday, but he circulated the news the night before. So Mr. Biscuits was not impressed. And Mr. Biscuits is a former, I think he might have been chair of the Irish jury at one point.
Oh, right.
Or maybe the subsidiary jury. He's well in there, viewers. Anyway, that's all I know.
But the Heathers, that band who did the Board Foiled thing a few years ago. You remember the two girls?
Oh right, that would be something he probably would have brought to RT's attention. Actually,
well,
yeah.
They wanted to do it, but they wanted to write their own song, and I don't think they were allowed to write their own song. They had to.
Loads of people wrote their own song. What's your man, the Summer in Dublin guy? He wrote his own song.
Yeah, but they decided on the song, and Heather's.
All right, so they picked the songwriter. Come up with a song. That's patronage now. That's what that is.
And O'Shaughnessy is a co-writer then on the song.
But where's it this year? It's in Portugal. I can't wait to hear what they say. Oh, do you know what, Luke? If you're watching.
Oh yeah. Luke is in Portugal.
We'll have our Eurovision party in your house. Okay. I won't be wearing the Gansey.
So Rhino Shocknessy got it. Heathers didn't get it. You were going to mention Dancing with the Stars, Vanessa? No,
I was asking how were you following it? It's a bad time of the Sunday evening is crap for me because I'm catching up with all the sports results. We had a very busy weekend with the league here. There was over 30 matches. I'm just too busy on a Sunday evening at that time, John. But I know you love it.
Okay,
all the dancing and the moves and the frocks and the spangly shirts.
I haven't seen it, but I did take ballroom dancing lessons years ago.
Oh, jeez.
they were.
Do you know what? Thank you so much for saying that, John, because I was afraid Daniel Day-Lewis's underwear was going to be.
Oh, right. Well,
so, what did you do?
Well, I was going to a lot of weddings, and I just felt like, wouldn't it be great just to know how to, waltz, do a dance, just at least one dance.
Oh God! Oh,
so I got
John. There's a good dance wooden floor behind you there. If you want to give us a demo of,
yeah, I'll do my Michael Flatley. Neil, we have the.
Don't change. Stop it, John.
I have to because
give us a minute on this.
Oh no, God no! Because the papers, I put up two Irish papers.
But before you go there, John, there is one other thing I wanted to kind of gleefully mention because I know the site does throw up the Late Late Show every week, and it was just a commentator on the site reminded me of it today, asking why you don't put up the Graham Norton thing. But did any of you guys catch Graham Norton last week? Graham Norton show with Tom Cruise on it and Rebecca Ferguson. And Rebecca Ferguson announced her pregnancy, that she's pregnant, and
Tom Cruise.
No, she didn't mention it because I think she's single. I don't know, but I was just watching their body language, and herself and Tom Cruise were very cozy on the sofa together.
Sorry, is Rebecca Ferguson the girl that was on X Factor or?
No, that's also Rebecca Ferguson. This is the Swedish actor Rebecca Ferguson. She's been in the Mission Impossible films, and she has been in.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's been in quite a few things. She's in The Girl on the Train and as well.
Yeah, so they did this backdrop thing, and they were getting people from the audience to pretend.
They did, but it felt like herself and Tom Cruise were very cozy together on the. She was a lot more cozy than Henry Cavill and Simon Pegg were.
Well, I wouldn't. I just, folks, I wouldn't.
Neil, is Norton something that you watch?
No, because I've only got Bog 1, Bog 2, and Bog 3 on the telly box here. So, but I catch the repeat on the. That's what happens when you've got an extra mouth to feed in the house. You end up watching telly a bit. Yeah, I was watching the repeat of it. It was just interesting reading the body language of the cast. They also showed the clip of Tom Cruise breaking his ankle during the shot for the latest Mission Impossible film. But yeah, I just reading their body language, I thought it was interesting how cozy the two of them were together. We've just turned into a glossy celebrity magazine. Coming next week, we'll show you pictures.
Well, I'm surprised Graham Norton didn't. If there was something there, Graham Norton didn't mention it. But
you mean some prison? Yeah, but
it's something he'd pick up on, and maybe not. Maybe now he's on the BBC. He's very clean and
we've got the paper. We've got 2 Irish papers there, Neil. If you just want to go straight to them, Olga's on her way in from town. So
where was she tonight, John? Did you say?
I believe she was lucky enough to get a shift.
There you go. Never gets old.
Work.
Never gets old.
It does get a bit old.
Very popular. Very popular.
If you great.
John, I know you don't watch TV that much, but have you been following, the way Tommy Tiernan has his own show and he doesn't know who's coming out in front of him?
Yeah, no,
I think I've only seen one and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, I think it was on Broadsheet, I read it today, about how it's really doing well, and he's really doing well in it versus
people who know who the guests are.
Yeah. Now I've only seen one, and I did think they were onto something, but I just wondered, had you followed up on it being?
No, but I understand there was a brilliant interview with blind boy, rubber banded blind boy guy last night. That was talking about mental health and issues and it was apparently a brilliant interview.
I think the format is very good.
A very good idea. Yeah,
I like that idea.
It's kind of similar to this because I don't know if all these people say, "Yeah, I'll be on tonight, John." They don't turn up. So I get the reverse.
John, you're a great one as well for kind of announcing stuff on air. You're producing.
Well, I take them at their word, So that.
But Vanessa, you're going to introduce the RT accounts.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, look, Neil is like a Mr. Improvisation. In fact, Neil.
Yeah, that's true.
Neil,
it is improv in a way, isn't it?
Well, it is.
God, the improv expert now would say, no, it's not. Improv is all about something else.
Are you impressed, Neil, with that show and what?
I've only seen a little bit. I actually don't watch a lot of TV. I've seen a couple episodes and a couple of interviews, and yeah, I mean, Tommy's he's quite engaging to watch, and that show really suits him. He takes an interest in the vast majority of his guests. He takes an interest. I think the interview we gave with Ruby Wax wasn't maybe his finest moment, but generally, yeah, he's very engaging. He's very interested in the guests, and that makes it work. Again, the premise that it's improvised and he doesn't know who the guest is kind of the least interesting thing about the show, and that tends to be the way improv is anyway if it's done right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for RT looking at their other interviewers and presenters on TV shows and maybe taking a few leaves out of Tommy's book in terms of his approach and that, and so yeah. But I do that as part of my show anyway. My own show, I take someone out of the audience who I haven't met and I interview them live, I think about them, and then I actually ask them to join in the show with me. So
that's what the +1 means.
Yeah. Oh, so it's fun. It's fun to do it. Like I'm sure he gets the same rush that we get as improvisers on the stage. Doing that. There's a great buzz doing that. It's a nice show, but I haven't seen it done on TV in other countries. So
we should apply for studio tickets. So what do they call it? Audience tickets?
Yeah. Just like they should apply for audience tickets for our show.
So Neil, could you share tomorrow's front pages?
I will, of course. Yeah.
I've just put them up. I'll try and get the English ones now, but I can talk through them, or you can talk through them.
You're great at talking, John. You're very well spoken.
One billboard. Look, one billboard outside every. Will the bastards stop?
Okay,
I can't read that. What does that say, John?
It says, "Will the bastards who keep smashing my walls stop? I'm too old for this."
Okay,
I don't get that.
This is a guy. This is the guy who gets his walls keeps on getting smashed. It's most only.
Is this the lads running into the wall like boy racers or fellas with pulling tractors when they're pulling trailers filled
drivers,
with
to stop knocking down their garden wall. Yeah, and it's fair enough.
But there's a great sign in Wicklow about a lad, and it's a proper official kind of signwriter sign. Is basically telling everyone, I don't buy old batteries, I don't buy old gates, I don't buy hay bales, I don't knock on the door. Actually, do you know what? Next time I'm down British, I'll take a photograph and send it in. God, knocking them too old for this.
Stop! I'm too old for this. It's
if my Chiron was working, I'd put that there. Stop! I'm too old for this.
Any age, you don't want that. There's no need. Nobody's got time for that, really. Okay, so and then
that's interesting. Sorry, John. Bodies dropping hand in hand with numbers.
You'll be pleased to see that the Irish coach Schmidt has said players being at rape trial won't affect the preparations. Vanessa, and Robert Wagner is a person of interest in Natalie Wood's death. Long suspected.
Imagine you've that case solved, have you, John?
Well, Christopher Walken was there on the night that she was killed or died. So the Trump, just there on the right, on the top right, Trump is to allow the FBI dossier to be published probably tomorrow, they say.
This is what they're calling the memo.
This is this clearly is going to potentially damage the FBI's Russia investigation. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because this will totally undermine the FBI.
Well, it won't just undermine the investigation. It will completely drop it.
What's in the memo, John?
Drop it stone dead. It's going to show collusion or not. It's going to show that Obama bugged Trump's campaign, that they used the dossier, the Steele dossier, which is now bogus, to obtain search warrants. FISA is these are sort of special warrants. Like, everybody's been bugged, okay? But to make it official, to actually get the transcripts and get the tapes and stuff like that, you need these FISA 302 documents, and they were obtained unlawfully, apparently. So the whole narrative, the whole Russia-Trump narrative collapses, and it's replaced by Obama and Hillary and the FBI and the Department of Justice conspiring to destroy Trump's candidacy, and then once he become president, to actually remove him from office. So it's all very, very serious, and it vindicates a lot of what Neil would have called conspiracy theories of the.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, it's it's dog eat dog on the campaign trail, but once he's sworn in, there's an element of cop on, I suppose.
Well, it's dog eat dog, but you can't involve the FBI and the Department of Justice and CIA in undermining a candidate. And
no.
If there's evidence of that, these are treasonable crimes.
I mean, it's no different. It's no different than one candidate getting the cops to ticket another candidate's supporters here. And I'm sure that happens. You know as well as I do the stuff that goes on here.
When you think about the crimes committed in Watergate, this is genuinely Watergate. If true,
Neil, I watched the Post the other night.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Yeah. Well, I started it on Saturday night, and I was tired, so I wasn't in the humour in a way. But I got a bit ticked off with it. And oh, sorry, John, do you want to talk about something else? Sorry.
I'll tell you what. I'll just finish off the papers because we're not in a pub as such.
Sorry, viewers.
Okay, so that's the Trump thing, which it's Bodger's going to have a great day tomorrow when that memo is released. And in the Times Ireland edition, sorry, that was all in the Examiner. The Times Ireland edition, Simon Coveney's stance on abortion law is damaging. He says that the proposals can be watered down. Now, I didn't want to go into the abortion story tonight as such because we were going to do a special, and I wanted Olga to present it, maybe next week or the week after. So, unless you want to get stuck into this, Vanessa.
Cool. I actually, to be honest, I didn't listen to Simon on Sean O'Rourke this morning. My one thing I'm going to say, and this is the other thing I'm going to say until we do the special and we're closer to once the date is announced, is I think the run-up is too long, and I think it's going to be vicious for everybody. I appreciate it's about side, it's yes and no, but some of the activists are really going all out. And I did say in another show about the use the introducing Down syndrome. I didn't even want to say Down syndrome. And I saw the posters up, the billboards up actually on Monday myself here, and I just think it's despicable. And so I really don't want to talk about it until we're dedicating a whole show to it.
Okay.
And I don't want to start. That's not to say to anyone that I'm not prepared. I mean, I've had over 35 years on this issue. What I would say is I think it's more appropriate to activate our opinions on this closer to the day, John, because you and I counted out 17 weeks to the end of May here. That's way too long for such a really contentious referendum. And I think
Leo was
a bit I don't know why he did that. He was badly advised to announce it so soon. It's so far. If he was announcing it the other day, it should have been more Easter.
Okay. Well, we'll get onto that next week anyway. Sorry, Neil. Paper.
Let me get you back up on screen here.
Thanks.
Technology. There we go.
This watering down of the thing is what was
a
piece after the Micheál Martin thing. You want to talk about conspiracy theories, but they're both leaders going for the kind of
in the same constituency, folks.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a picture of Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood, just before he threw her off the boat.
Is he still alive? Is Robert Wagner still alive?
He's still alive. Yeah. And Christopher Walken, who was also on the boat that night, is still alive.
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't get on the wrong side of Christopher Walken now. I'd say your man Wagner now. I'd say you could give him a dig now, and he'd drop like a sack of spuds.
He'd probably accuse Walken. Hey, look, the creepy guy on the boat. He's the one who did it.
I'd say Walken's is hard out. I'd say he's tough. This fella is. Look at him.
Well,
he knows how to use an iron anyway, John.
Okay. Well, anyway, so. That story might up the Irish papers, or the English papers rather. Olga's just about to join us any second now. She's in the house. Where is Olga?
Okay. The other story there, John, that you didn't mention is the national broadband plan.
Yeah, please. You go ahead. I'll just do the English papers. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Air have basically pulled out of the national broadband plan. That's a bit of a tongue twister. They're not so that just leaves one potential one potential person that's left here, I think they're called ENET. But I've always wondered about this. Kind of, you can't really do it without Air because they have the infrastructure, but seemingly the finances don't add up. And now the government are spinning that, we were the rest of the world was looking at us because we were the leaders in this vein of rolling out rural broadband. So it'll be interesting to see if anything, if this is dead in the water. I mean, the media today, they were talking to people who have as good as dial-up internet access. There was one guy saying he's trying to do his payroll on a Wednesday, and then the internet doesn't work, and he has to drive to a friend's house in a different city, to different town to do the payroll. So it's pretty grim. To Dublin. The broadband's pretty good in Arklow. We saw Lucky had good broadband there.
Well, yeah, I thought that was quite good.
So that's
what are we looking at now? Do you want to talk about? I'll tell you about the Post anyway.
Tell us about the Post.
No, I thought Tom Hanks was a bit full of himself in it. It was all about Tom Hanks. And actually, so I kind of cleared the head and watched it in full the following day. And it's actually quite good. I did enjoy it. There's kind of two themes running through it. It's about them with the story, the Vietnam Papers, but then it's also about the sexism at the time because, and they're remarking about Mrs. Graham. I didn't know this. Well, I didn't think about this. So her dad founded the paper, and when her dad died, he left the Washington Post to her husband because a woman couldn't possibly be the owner and editor of a newspaper. And so there's a theme about her being overlooked because she was a woman and not being treated as she was a woman, because she was a woman. And you see the boardroom, at the meeting, and she's trying to sell shares, and she's going to Wall Street to sell shares, to raise money. And it's all, you could see that the male dominance is a theme in it as well, and she's trying to strike out. And so that is running alongside the story of the Vietnam Papers. But I did, it's great. Saul from Breaking Bad is in it, and it was in. Yeah, but the part I thought was most interesting, and now Olga is a journalist, so she probably knows all this, and this is nothing to them. But when they set the paper with the typesetting and the blocks, I don't know if they do this anymore, but there's scenes of that in it, and I thought that was really interesting.
I don't think so.
Where they go into the typesetting room and these machines like typewriters that create these blocks and how they build them, and they build each page. I thought that was interesting. And then when I went, because I read, I'm admitting to this now, I read Piers Morgan's book, and he talks about when the presses roll and this thing called coming off stone, I think.
Yeah.
And he mentions this, and then I actually could see it when the paper goes to press, and then you see the guy Saul from in the movie, and then his story is, he knows the story has hit the press because the whole building is moving.
Oh yeah.
And these are all things it knitted together. So it did knit together very well. But the two themes running together, it was there was a bit of patronage in it. Maybe Mrs. Graham on her own was a biopic, because they love biopics at the moment in Hollywood. There's so few original scripts, it's all biopics. So maybe that was a better story on its own. Or maybe it is a story on its own. Oh no, it's already done. Neil hasn't told me about it. But it's worth watching. It's worth watching.
Okay, that's the Post. Thanks, Vanessa. Olga, welcome.
Hi, John. Sorry I'm late. I was on the Lewis, and there was loads of people came out from this big dart event in the 3 Arena. So that's why I was later than even normal.
We love the darts.
Do we?
Do you?
Huh? No, I wouldn't personally.
Was there any dart players? Was there any dart players on the Lewis?
I don't think so. But I don't know. They could have been. I don't know.
Olga, you were at the Disclosures Tribunal during the week.
Yes.
And you've been tweeting furiously for us. Thank you so much.
Yes, well, hopefully they're all okay, yeah.
They are as clear as mud.
Yeah, I know.
Olga, I have to apologise. Sorry, John. I have to apologise. I've stopped retweeting them. because I only have about 10 followers. And I'm afraid that I'm going to get beaten up for retweeting the same.
I know, maybe there's too many tweets. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, anyway.
Well, no. I think, I mean, it's because there's not a great deal of coverage, you know, rigorous coverage, that it's good to just get. I mean,
well, it's tough. It's really hard because it's like 6 hours a day or whatever it is, you know, testimony. So, like, I can't fault anyone for like, you know, people, at least we, because I suppose we're lucky, right? We can just write as much as we want. But I suppose people have, like, okay, you have to write 400 words. I mean, you're only kind of giving the background of 400, you know, although that's the battle, isn't that what it's about? But anyway.
Well, it's actually quite exciting to follow it on Twitter. The tweets. I mean, it very dramatic week, wasn't it? I mean, Frances Earl took the stand yesterday. She's been there 2 days, and
she finished today. Yeah.
And you said her performance was, or I say performance, but it was similar tactics deployed by Noreen. Yeah,
I thought they kind of mirrored each other, you know, and we I suppose we're all guessing. We wonder why. We probably know why, but yeah, they did kind of mirror. I thought they kind of mirrored each other. Same kind of answers, you know, the questions asked. Oh, let me give you some context. Talk for 10 minutes. Not really kind of say anything. And then the question will be asked another 10 different ways. Same question in 10 different ways. Like, in fairness to the counsel for the tribunal, actually were really impressive with Frances Fitzgerald. You know, just kind of exasperated by yesterday evening, just saying, how could you not have reacted to this email where it was mentioned about the whole Miss D allegation, and she should have known that shouldn't have been mentioned. Let's just keep it as simple as possible. And so why did she not act, and why did she not respond? But she just kept maintaining that she couldn't remember reading the email. But then at the very, very end, it was almost like kind of a mask slipped kind of a moment, if I'm allowed to say that. But she just kind of said, I made a conscious decision not to do anything. And then I made a conscious decision to let the judge deal with it. So, or I made a conscious decision not to do anything that, you know, because she felt it would be inappropriate. But so, you know, how can you make a conscious decision on something that you can't remember reading? So,
what was it like in the tribunal when that was being aired? Well,
you see, it was at the very, very last 60 seconds of her testimony. It was just at the very end of the, you know, but everyone, like all the journalists, everyone in the room just went, like, everyone heard the word conscious decision, and she said it twice within 30 seconds. Like, so everyone kind of just went, oh, hang on. And she did kind of backtrack, I think, this morning a small bit, kind of saying it was a conscious decision as a whole in regards to everything. But the thing is that we learned that not only did she get this letter on the 15th of May, 2015, but she also got, there was further correspondence on the 21st of May, which mentioned the GSOC investigation into Miss D. Miss D complained, and the GSOC came back and said there was nothing to, like, there's nothing to see here, whatever. At least, like, there's nothing to answer here. So she should have kind of, the question was, why didn't she link that? Why didn't that trigger even more for her to go, what's going on here? Yeah. But she didn't. And she just repeated the same thing. I think she actually said she treated it in the same way she treated the May 15 letter. So, yeah, look, she's sticking to that, and she even said that she'd do it all again. So, you know.
She said she would do it all again, and she had met Morris in 2014, hadn't she?
That's right, in October 2014. Yeah, once. So she met him once. So yeah,
and Lorraine.
Sorry, John. I don't know if it's my reception, but you just cut out there. The next cut out earlier. It might be just me. Sorry.
But she met Morris and Lorraine.
She met Morris and Lorraine, yeah. You mean in October 2014 now, or do you mean today?
No, 2014.
2014, yes. So she did, right? So she became minister in May 2014. Remember the whole Alan Shatter? Yeah. He left after the Gearan report, which recommended the whole commission. So she went, she met them, and Morris was really happy, quite delighted with her. And so only just a couple of weeks before that whole thing with May, that May weekend,
He
wrote to her and basically said, "This is the first time in years that I'm happy back at work," because of all those workplace things that were going on. There were these seminars. He felt like things were changing, so he was really happy, and so that's why everyone was kind of like to Noreen O'Sullivan because it was the 18th of May 2015 on that Monday that he said he no longer wanted to be sergeant in charge of the traffic unit in Mullingar, and Noreen O'Sullivan couldn't fathom why he did that based on what had happened at the O'Higgins Commission. So Noreen O'Sullivan, in my view anyway, for what it's worth, Noreen O'Sullivan and Francis Fitzgerald, not only did they kind of mirror each other in their kind of how they handled the questions in the tribunal, but their actual actions kind of are quite similar. Like the kind of distance from matters, you know, they're kind of cushioned by their civil servants, they're cushioned by perhaps not recalling emails, perhaps not recalling stuff. So
and they're both been advised by Terry Prone, so even their words are the same. She's crafting their
the sound bites, just repeated sound bites, you know.
But for both of them, I mean, it's such an unusual setup, isn't it?
It's nothing. I don't think there's anything unusual about that. That they are literally going. They're almost like a girl band. Well, that's no, but seriously, they've both been prepped by the same person. It's like going to the hairdresser, who's known for his same style. All the women come out with the same curls or whatever, or going to the same boutique. Everyone's going to come out with a similar suit because that buyer is a certain style.
Yeah, but
it was obvious. Even the suit she was wearing yesterday was. They could have just picked it off the rail between them.
Yeah, just on that, Olga, because we get the photos in during the day, and you've got Francis and Noreen absolutely just roaring, laughing and coming in. It's very inappropriate. I mean, I know that there's they're taking.
They see the journalists, see the photographers and stuff. Yeah.
But the beaming smiles. I mean, it's a fairly solemn occasion. You know, what's on. You know, you've got a guy.
I guess they're just on. They're just on. Like they're just switched on. This is now a performance, isn't it? I mean, I guess
the moment they get out of the car.
Yeah, presumably they're told, John. Yeah, that's how you handle it. You know, like Francis Fitzgerald walked in
to the car. Even how they position their legs as they get out of a car, even if they're in a private car park, they are, following a program.
Yeah. Also,
they have been drilled. This way.
Also, sorry, Vanessa. Just on the tribunal itself, I'll get the evidence. You can. It's a very revealing about how a cabinet minister works.
Yeah. Yes.
Simply, she's basically an actress or something. She's not really. Yeah. These decisions are made around her, over her, under her, and she just sort of rubber stamps.
And decisions are made, and she's maybe possibly not told of stuff. Like that's what they're.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're saying. You know, like we weren't told these actions were taken. Like it's hard to believe that Francis Fitzgerald. Like it's shocking that, you know, on the weekend of the May 15, 18 stuff, you know, there were contacts between Department of Justice officials with Noreen O'Sullivan. And Francis Fitzgerald had no idea. There was phone calls in the middle of that row, and she had no idea. So now they're saying obviously that there was no instructions on the part of the Department of Justice. They didn't do anything like that. It was just Ken O'Leary said he was just kind of used as a sounding board, blah blah. But it is kind of remarkable. And in the same way, you know, the flip side of that, in the same way, the mirror side of that for Noreen O'Sullivan is that it's amazing that she, you know, she didn't know what her counsel was kind of doing, you know, like in her name. She was the primary client for that legal team. So,
yeah,
you know,
it was the first case where a barrister was instructing the client, I think.
Yeah, and you know, I was looking back at something that one of the senior counsels for the tribunal, Dermot McGuinness, put to one of the junior counsels on Friday, I think it was, and he basically went through, you know, the whole thing, the letter, the motivation, blah, blah, blah. And then when it turned out that the letter was incorrect and blah, 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 it just kind of fell away. And McGuinness said to this guy, Michael McNamee, the barrister, you know, so you kind of, and I'm totally paraphrasing him now, but he said there was no effort to redraw a letter, like to write another letter or to fix the submissions that were completely incorrect. There was no effort on the part of the team or whoever to do that. And he said, no, there wasn't. Now, I think Colin Smith gave different evidence that they still kind of maintained the whole motivation thing, but Michael McNamee said, no, they didn't. It just kind of fell away by the wayside. And Darren McGuinness made the point, and then you kind of just went back to where you should have probably started, which was challenging perhaps just the incidents that they were there to investigate. You know, that was what the judge was supposed to look at. And so now I think McNamee disagreed and said, I don't agree with that, but I thought it was a really good point. So there's just big circuitous, you know. And
just to, John Barrett then took the stand today, this afternoon.
He took the stand today, and just to be honest, I wasn't there because I had to leave, but I did try to have a look at the transcript, and so we knew already that he was going to say this because it's been reported, and it was in the opening statement that he is alleging that Cyril Dunn, who was the former chief administrative officer of the Guards, said to him in the opening statement. It didn't say when he said it to him, but he said prior to the commission he was told that they were going to go after him. Now
they're going to go after Maurice McCabe and.
Going to go after Maurice, at the commission.
Said he responded, "You've got to be effing joking."
Like you've got to be joking, yeah. So, but that only came out today, the bit about you're only joking and his response. But also today was the first time he said when that happened. So he maintains that it happened on May 13th, 2015. So that's the day before it started. Yeah. And of course, we know that there were consultations on kind of 11th, but that was just with Fergus Healy, not Noel Cunningham and those guys. But there were consultations on the 12th and 13th. So the thing is, though, is that John Barrett is kind of, he has very, it sounds from what I could see in the transcript, that he doesn't have any, there's no witness. No. Cyril Dunn is saying it didn't happen, and he doesn't have any documentation. Yeah. But he is kind of saying that based on his kind of looking at his emails and kind of triangulation of emails, he maintains that it was on that 13th. Now, Charlton did drill him, from what I could see. He drilled him and was like, you know, you met these people a couple of times a week. How can you decide that it was just this particular day? He didn't do anything about it. He didn't do any note about it. But he did say it to Chief Superintendent, I think it was Tony McLaughlin, I think within 6 weeks, he said. And apparently they had some sort of conversation maybe yesterday or in the last week or so. So I don't know, it was quite messy. I only got to read it very quickly, the transcript. But anyway, the upshot is that he used to come in tomorrow an hour early and give over emails and whatever, you know, tangible documentation he can, I guess, to support this claim. But from what I saw, from what Charlton said so far anyway, he'll definitely be looking for hard evidence of this, because I guess if you think about it, right, if Noreen didn't know anything about everything, like I was saying, there's that kind of cushion or there's that distance, even though I think some of it's kind of implausible, but that's just my opinion. It's not up to me, but it seems that, if it's the case that, you know, this was, there is some sort of evidence that prior to the commission that they were going to go after him. Obviously, that changes everything for Noreen O'Sullivan.
Of course,
you know?
Of course. But there's no, as you said, it's a he said. Yeah. Pity he didn't tape his conversations like that.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because that was one of the things he said. He was warned because he only met Maurice for the first time, I think it was in February 2015. And so, but he was apparently warned, look, he's furtive and he tapes. But I think he knew that already, I think, because he knew about some of other tapes or whatever. But what was that I was going to say? But just as also, so he'd be back tomorrow morning, John Barrett, but also who'll be giving him evidence tomorrow is Noel Cunningham, Superintendent Noel Cunningham, and Chief Superintendent Colin Mooney. So,
well, they probably won't be. They'll probably just have time for one, maybe two witnesses tomorrow to.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I guess it'll depend what documentation or what John Barrett's going to say, you know.
Yeah.
Barrett, and also we don't know how much Colin Mooney and Noel Cunningham can say, so they mightn't be up there that long. I don't know, but obviously, I suppose they're the kind of final jigsaw in this whole thing, in the sense of, well, what exactly happened? But will we get to know that? We don't know because of privilege. So, because Noel Cunningham did waive privilege just during the week for a document that showed when he that showed the whole to versus the against. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but that he had said to, you know. But I think that it's the to versus the against makes a very easy, clean headline, you know. But it's not as simple as that. I think it's fair to say.
So. What about the atmosphere down there? I mean, how is Maurice and Lorraine? Are they
I think they're okay. I mean,
are there a lot?
I think they're okay.
A lot of public.
There's a lot of public this week because of Frances Fitzgerald, and obviously because of Noreen. When people like that are there, a lot of people come in. So I think they're getting support. You know, I think they're recognised, you know, and stuff. But hard going too, though. You know, I like obviously the Garda legal team or whoever, they'll take every opportunity they can to, you know, to, like, we heard a lot during the week about stuff that kind of we hadn't heard about before, that kind of was relevant rather to the O'Higgins Commission and documentation and you know, his complaints and what he said, and they all make really easy headlines, clean copy, could fit into a box, you know. But and there was a lot of airing of that, which I think was obviously, you know, there was a kind of a tactic possibly going on there. But
do you feel you're getting a picture of what actually happened?
Do you know what I think? I think we love a timeline, and I think it needs a really, really, really forensic, thorough timeline.
Yeah.
To really kind of get to grips with it. That would take some time, but like I'm guessing that's what maybe, you know, let's say Maurice's legal team might look at, you know, submissions and stuff, because they're supposed to be coming in next week. But I mean, it just seems, I don't know. I just don't understand how a man can be so unlucky to be falsely accused of rape and a copy and paste error, and then to be somehow falsely accused of blackmail from another clerical error, you know. And because of the sequence of events and because of who he was and what he was doing, and the kind of forgetfulness and the non-action, not even just the actions, but the non-action, things were left to hang, you know. There was a lot of hanging threads, and maybe that was enough, you know.
Well, we'll work on a timeline then, a proper timeline,
yeah,
you know, like a thorough timeline. Sorry, I always go to Neil after the guards get a pasting, but Neil, are you following it at all? And
yeah, there's a lot happening, so I could not even say half of what Olga said, but it comes back to the same old adage of where will this all end, and I don't know if Olga is going to reveal her cards yet. She hasn't budged in the past, but I think nothing's going to come out of this, Olga. Do you? Are we going to see reform? Are we going to see certain former heads held to account?
I was really hopeful a few months ago, you know. Now am I as hopeful? Well, I will probably be as hopeful, but am I as optimistic? Possibly not. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Vanessa, do you have anything to share on the tribunal?
I think just you can see where Noreen and Frances are just completely cookie cutter, as some people would say, and I hate that expression. I think they'd come up with something a bit more unique to themselves, but it works in this occasion. I did say long before Christmas that, you know, we all know, I think as the citizenry know what went on here. And I appreciate natural justice has to be done, and everyone has to have their day, and they have to be heard, and they have to be given an opportunity to deny, or as they say in Entourage, deny till you die, or pass the buck, or, you know. Noreen, incidentally, I noticed about her when I saw her was, you know, somebody else's job. She was the king of delegation for me. And that's a typical corporate career, you know, figure your way out to the top by blaming everybody else. And, oh, it didn't get done because he was out sick or this sort of thing, you know, and they all think you're great because you're at work every day. Sorry, I'm going off the point. You know, ultimately, what's going to come out of this? Absolutely fucking nothing. People are going to get settlements. Journalists and writers are going to write book after book after book after book. And in 20, 30 years' time, you'll have what we've seen with the Kerry babies now getting on shows and saying, oh, we knew it was all this at the time, and we knew this. And, you know, like, just spare me, you know. All Maurice McCabe wanted to do was improve policing in his area. He wasn't looking to take any, you know, he wasn't putting a hit out on anyone, or, you know, trying to squeeze a few bob out of lads that were diesel laundering, or get a few.
I'm not sure.
You know, getting a few doors in Tor. Jesus Christ! All he wanted to do was improve policing, and from literally a traffic division. And look what they've done.
Yeah.
Honestly, you talk about the FBI and the CIA and, you know, Russia. Look what these guards did. I mean, talk about overkill. You could not make this up. And I have a pretty vivid imagination, and John will agree. He'll concur with that. A guard, a sergeant in a small jurisdiction, asking them to have a look at this small bit of, you know.
Well, you know, the one case of I do not want to get her name, Mary Lynch, the lady who was attacked the taxi driver. Yeah. She's been there. She's been there quite a bit.
Has she? Yeah.
And you know, it makes me wonder about other people who sit in the public gallery, because I do think, you know, like, he has helped people. There's no, you know, and I think, I imagine he would probably say he would never do it again. You know, he wouldn't probably encourage anyone to do what he's done.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm glad he did. I'm absolutely glad he did, and I'm proud of him that he did it.
Mm.
But what I'm talking about is the Garda Síochána, which is, it's not just an institution. It's just a massive part of our day-to-day lives since we've been born, and long before we've been born. You know? And for them to concoct a fucking charge of paedophilia against the man because he worried about a guy dealing a few bits and bobs. And this is how they overreact. Do you know what my thing is here? And this is as an accountant as well. When a risk is raised, what don't I know? What other guys raised an issue or a query and it got squashed because they threatened him because, oh, the daughter of another guard is saying you poked her, or, you know, has an allegation to make, and your man or the lady decided not to back off and hand in their resignation. It's the cases we don't know then raises the question. And as an accountant, that's where I go, the doubt is there. The risk now is obvious. What don't I know?
Yeah, you're right.
And here we're going wild and mad and hours, and we're talking. There's a taximeter. This is the most expensive taximeter in Europe running at the moment here.
It's unreal. I mean, you've got Michael McDougall, senior.
Nothing is going to happen, John. No, Francis or Noreen, or even the family of Miss D, or even Paul Williams, that had the nerve to bring Miss D to a politician. And what the fuck was Michael Martin doing meeting this person?
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a question. And I mean,
like, we're a state of 4 million people, and we're carrying on like we're fucking Moscow.
Yeah, but just to step in there for a second about the point, the business about the money. Absolutely, there's no kind of, I can't get my head around the fees and stuff like that. But I will say, if that's the cost of having this done public, I'm glad my tax money's, whatever tax I pay, is going towards that, because given what happened in O'Higgins for Maurice and Lorraine and their family, they deserved this public airing, you know.
But it's also there.
I'm not denying that, and I'm
yeah, no, I know you're not, Vanessa. Sorry, yeah, I know you're
Vanessa,
not.
The tribunal isn't there to recommend reforms for the Garda. It's just to establish the truth.
But you know what? We're never going to get to the bottom of it, because the main players are saying, I don't recall, oh, that was my secretary, or... Well, it's absolutely knitted and bundled.
Okay.
It's actually, if anyone knows how felt is created, this is literally it. All those emails and data and responses that are all being recorded, you could back and make a quilt that would cover Antarctica with it.
I think these tribunals have unintended consequences as well. I mean, I don't think Frances Fitzgerald would ever be in another cabinet. For instance.
But there's the thing, John. But why would she want to be in another cabinet? So she's in her late 60s.
No,
but
that's not meant to be ageist at all.
If she had any aspirations for the RRs
Where's the penalty? Where is the penalty for not doing her job appropriately? For me, I get sued, and my professional reputation is gone, and I probably have to go back working in payroll or that I did 30 years ago. Okay, where is the penalty for Noreen?
Well, she's no longer Garda commissioner. Okay, her reputation is what we can make of it. We can only from what we can hear at the tribunal, and it. I mean,
sorry, is Noreen currently signing on looking for job seekers?
No.
Has her lifestyle been compromised? Is she now at risk of losing her home? Absolutely bloody not. So let's stop saying, her name. And okay, everyone's entitled to their good name, but there is absolutely no penalty.
But Vanessa, I think, John, maybe if
you're dead right,
yeah.
Vanessa. But for instance, take something like Pat Hickey, right? He'll probably never see, he'll never be brought to justice in Brazil or whatever. Okay, technically he's no longer IOC head. He can go into the shops and stuff like that, but his life is dramatically altered, and that's kind of the way.
Yeah, but that's the life. Second, Olga and John, right? That's the life they led when they were doing these back deals and they were conniving and crafting and all these maneuvers. They chose to run the gauntlet that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to apologise for making those remarks.
I don't think there's any disagreement. I think John, what you're saying, because I think that's what I was thinking as well, is that once it's aired, then the people can make up their own mind. It's not about whether they have what pension they have or whatever. Yeah. Is that what you're saying, John? Because that's how I.
Well, I'm saying that look, there's no real justice in Ireland, in particularly in those tribunals. But what we are a shame-based culture. We're a bit like the Japanese in that sense, and you've got people like Hickey and people.
Seriously,
like
sorry.
Noreen.
Do you seriously, John? Do you seriously think Noreen feels shame?
Personally,
or Frances?
Look, I have no idea. I saw them coming in, beaming, smiling into the tribunal. I didn't see them take the gravity, the occasion demanded. But
because they don't care. And I said this on the show months ago. They don't give a shite. Listen, if I was Noreen on my 100 grand a year, I had a big enough lump sum to pay off 3 mortgages. I'd be off around the world chasing young fellas. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't want to make this about me.
I know.
Because that's the life I would choose.
I know.
They don't care. And do you know what? They are getting expenses for turning up there.
I've no doubt.
There's no probably about it.
No, I've no doubt. You're dead right, Vanessa. But the Irish have a way of dealing with these things as well, and as I say, I don't think Frances Fitzgerald is going to get a good run for the Oris or anywhere else, quite frankly.
Well, I understand now there's a bit of competition in Fine Gael, so.
Okay, well,
We should do a show on that.
What a show. What a draining show. And you're dead right, Vanessa. Olga, thanks so much for going through the tribunal stuff. And I know you got no sleep last night.
No.
No. And you weren't even on a shift.
Do you want to tell us about it, Olga?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that kind of a night.
Neil, Neil, thank you so much for brilliantly producing the show.
Thanks, John.
Okay, and hopefully we'll see everybody tomorrow on the site, or we'll see you here next week for the 50th episode of Broadsheet on the Telly.
Oh my God,
All right.
Well, I see. I'm only blowing, everybody. I know I'm only blowing.
Well, we can't wait to see everybody next week, and hopefully see you on the site tomorrow. And thank you very much for joining us tonight. Okay.
Live streamed from Vegas next week.
I see.
Oh, wow.